It is so baffling to me how people don't know where their money goes or their finances and stuff. I'm a finance major, right? But I've always been good with math and I just love crunching numbers and stuff like that. But I tracked all my finances. Like ever since I turned 18 and I started putting money in the stock market, this and that, I was like, I'm gonna track everything. I have multiple pages for tracking my portfolio. I have like Excel sheets. I track everything. And I do it at an excessive rate, but if you don't care about your numbers that much, you should still track it on a monthly or a weekly basis so you know where your money's going. Like on mine, I know it's excessive. I track haircuts, gas, my monthly accounts, like how much money I have, how much I have invested, how much my investments are worth, how much I paid for college, how much college paid me. Like I have everything tracked. But that's because I'm just a nerd and I like being excessive with numbers because I just like seeing how everything's outlined. But if you don't care about numbers, you should still be tracking where your money's going. If you have monthly expenses and subscriptions, you should be tracking all of that. You should track how much money you make based on your income. If you have a side hustle, you should see how much money that's bringing in. If you have things that are like if you are making a certain amount of money and at the end of the month you're like, damn, I have no money in my account. How does this keep happening? I work a job and I have nothing. You're obviously overspending or just about spending as much as you're making, which is dumb. Like it's like the number one rule on how to be financially like free eventually. Spend less than you make. And there's like no common sense to that. It's all common sense. Like why would you spend as much as you make? Someone who makes $150,000 a year, you would consider rich, right? And then they would be like, if they spend $145,000 at the end of the year, they have $5,000. And if someone who makes $60,000 but only spends $30,000 a year, they have $30,000. So in theory, they're actually more financially free than that person who makes $150,000 because they're spending all of their money. So you need to be able to, if you're one of those people who never have money in their account, and you have a job, especially if you have a job, it's like super concerning. Where is your money going? So if you make whatever minimum wage $2,000, you shouldn't be like, the typical rule of thumb is only spend 10% of your money, but I know it's different for everybody, whatever, right? I try to stay below 10, 20. There are typical rules of thumb for how you're supposed to spend your income, and it's like 30%, 20%, 20%, 30%. It's like there's like different. You can just look it up. The typical. I don't follow it. I make my own, right? Because everybody's life is different. I'm not gonna be able to, if I don't have a car, like that 20% thing was for like car payment, and if you don't have a car, then that 20% goes somewhere else, right? So you gotta understand what you typically spend on and how much you need to be spending on, right? So I remember when I was like working minimum wage and I was spending like $500, $600 a month on food. And it was like, I eat a lot because I'm like a big guy or whatever, but I was like, why the fuck am I spending so much money on food? And then when I realized like I could just easily cut this down, I literally went from spending $600 a month on food to like less than 50. I just started eating at home. And in that case, I got a little lucky because I still live with my parents and stuff. But if you are not the type of person who needs to be spending that much on food or doesn't need to be spending money on like gas and travel or car payments, or it's like, let's redo your monthly budgeting. And like, it's so easy to do it. All you have to do is just set percentages. Okay, I typically spend $10 a day on food. That's $300 a month. I make $2,000. $300 over 2,000 is 115%. So I know I'll spend 15% on food, this and that. And at the end of the month, see if that aligned. See if you actually spend 15% of your income. And it's really that simple. And you just do that for everything else, and then see if you can set aside money for savings, set aside money for investing. Ways to actually build yourself like this sort of pathway to financial freedom, right? So you're not always relying on the next paycheck and the next paycheck and always paying bills. And it's like, also spend limits, set limits for yourself and be disciplined on those limits. Don't tell yourself, okay, I can only spend 10% of my income on Amazon, and then every month you're spending 25%. It's like, now you know where your fucking money's going. You keep spending way more than you should on Amazon. These useless products that aren't even necessary. You just want the little dopamine hit or whatever the case may be. Maybe you have a problem. That's something you have to deal with on your own. But if you know you have the problem, you can see that on your financials, and then you can adjust for it. But again, track your financials. If you want to be excessive like me and see how much you're spending on haircuts and gas and college and food and everything, do that. It's kind of nice because then you really see where your money's going. If you're good with numbers and you like numbers and you typing it, like you like Excel. I love Excel, so as we always do in that, right? Like I have a bunch of whatever. Track everything. Understand where your money's going. Understand where your money's flowing. See where you can set limits. See how you can actually get yourself disciplined on how you spend and get a pathway to freedom. And don't just fucking spend recklessly and wonder why you never have any money in your account. Be smart with your money.